Talking Points Tuesday night. Tonight, the big focus, the Bilkis Bano gang rape and murder case. What next in it? Is this a case where it's a political hot potato that the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party will not touch? We'll tell you more on why we are focusing on that in a moment. But first, as always, it's time for the 9 headlines at 9. The Supreme Court slams the Gujarat government for remission of Bilkis Bano's rapist based on a 1993 policy. Asks where is the application of mind? Union Minister Prahlad Joshi is also defending the remission. Delhi High Court dismisses Umar Khalid's bail plea in the 2020 riots case. Court says protest plan was geared towards extremely grave consequences. Tamil Nadu government tables Jayalalitha's death report in the assembly. The panel blames aide Sashikala for the circumstances leading to Amma's death. A chopper crashed just 2 kilometers away from Kedarnath. 7 people, including a pilot and 6 passengers, killed. Sources say bad weather led to the crash. Pakistani delegation at an Interpol meet confronted with questions on Dawood Ibrahim and Hafiz Saeed. No answers, only silence on shielding terrorists. NCB vigilance report highlights procedural lapses in the Aryan Khan drug case, recommends action against 7 to 8 officers for negligence. A 7-month-old infant killed after being mauled by a stray dog in Noida. The child's intestines were pulled out. Furious residents demand strays be taken off the streets. Former Indian cricketer Roger Binney elected unopposed as the new BCCI chief at the annual general meeting. He takes over the position from Saurabh Ganguly. And Karim Benzema of France awarded the 2022 Ballon d'Or as the player of the year after a stellar season. Benzema scored a career best 27 times in La Liga, taking Real Madrid to the Champions Trophy as well. But let me give you the breaking news that's coming in. A new COVID subvariant, BQ.1, found in Mumbai. The Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation has now issued a festive advisory. Citizens have been urged to follow COVID-safe behavior during festivals. Remember, Diwali is next week. The State Health Department of Maharashtra said there has been a 17.7% increase in infections. People have been told, don't ignore flu-like symptoms, seek medical advice at the earliest, observe COVID-appropriate behavior at public places. Vaccination as per Government of India guidelines, and people with comorbidities to take extra precautions while visiting public spaces and avoid contacts as much as possible. So Mumbai COVID alert is breaking at the moment. Joining us now is Mustafa Sheikh, our correspondent there. Mustafa, what can you tell us? What exactly is the BMC saying? Is this a general advisory or a specific one related to this new variant?
Well, Rajdeep, clearly the concerns are rising not only in Mumbai but in entire Maharashtra, because the Maharashtra case load has gone up by 17% in just 1 week. And when the genome sequencing was done to find out this spike, it was this subvariant, which is first time which has been found in India, and that is in Maharashtra. And because of the increase, and now because there has been people coming out for festivities, there is likelihood that people will be interacting, and hence this advisory has been issued saying that COVID-19 appropriate behavior has to be followed during the festivities, because any which way the flu cases, the viral cases were increasing. Now the COVID infection with this new variant, which is subsiding the vaccination and affecting people. So this is the concern raised by the BMC and Maharashtra Health Department. We'll have to wait and see in the next few days how these things and the case load increases. Back to you.
Very quickly, you're saying 17% increase in cases, but not in hospitalizations. Am I correct?
Yes, that's true that the case load has increased by 17%, not the hospitalization. But yes, symptoms are flu-like, and hence people are being asked to get tested. Back to you.
Okay, Mustafa Sheikh joining us with that news coming ahead of Diwali. Let's hope that we don't have new restrictions being put in place ahead of India's biggest festival. Let's turn from there to our top story tonight, where today the Supreme Court criticized the Gujarat government's reply in its affidavit to please challenging the remission granted to 11 convicts in the Bilkis Bano gang rape and murder case. Remember, the Gujarat government had filed a counter affidavit after these convicts were released on the 15th of August. The court said that many of these statements lack facts and non-application of mind. Our top story tonight is justice for Bilkis Bano. We'll explore what exactly has gone wrong in the case. Take a look.
11 convicts in a gang rape and murder case that saw the killing of 14 people during Gujarat riots walked free on Independence Day this year. 2 months later, an affidavit filed by the Gujarat government in the Supreme Court justifying the remission to convicts in the Bilkis Bano case has admitted the centre's role in the decision. The Gujarat government has told the Supreme Court that the Narendra Modi government, through the Ministry of Home Affairs, approved the release of all the 11 convicts. The affidavit also says that in 2021, the CBI and Special CBI judge in Mumbai, where the trial in the case has taken place, opposed premature release. The Gujarat government claims the convicts were released after it considered all opinions in the matter and after it found the behavior of the convicts to be good.
The question that is now being asked is how and why did the central government, the Home Ministry, grant approval to the release of these convicts? All of these matters will now be considered by the Supreme Court of India on the 29th of November.
The Gujarat government's admission has sparked a political row, with Rahul Gandhi accusing Prime Minister Modi of standing with rapists. The Congress and the left have lashed out at the BJP.
It raised the clear issue that the context, the facts are revolting. They are reprehensible. They are repugnant to every value for which this nation and the constitution stands. It is for the Modi government to answer whether they want to release rapists after, and that to a gang rape case with children killed, pregnant women assaulted and killed, just because they've served 14 years. Do they apply this standard across the board to all rapists?
It is a heinous miscarriage of justice. And the fact that the affidavit states very clearly that this was all done with the permission and the approval and the acquiescence and therefore the direction of the Home Minister of India and his Home Ministry really raises very serious questions.
Reactions in Gujarat, which goes to the polls this year, however, are muted. Ruling party BJP and new entrant Aam Aadmi Party are both silent. The Supreme Court will now hear the petitions challenging the remission granted to convicts next to November 29th. The question that arises now is whether the Gujarat government has passed the buck to the centre to defend the decision to release Bilkis Bano's rapists. With Nalini Sharma, Bureau Report, India Today.
And my first guest this evening is the lawyer for Bilkis Bano, Shobha Gupta of the Supreme Court, joins us. Appreciate your joining us, Ms. Gupta. Is it now very clear, given that the Gujarat government's affidavit makes it clear that they took all the clearances from the competent authorities, both at the state level and the centre, the Union Home Ministry, while clearing this decision to grant remission, that your case now doesn't stand? They will claim we followed due process.
So, have you gone through the affidavit, Mr. Rajdeep?
I have.
It doesn't. So, the CBI has not given the concurrence. The special judge has not given the concurrence. They both have denied. In fact, special judge in a detailed order, it says should not be granted for XYZ reasons. According
but the
to
centre
me,
has. But Shobha Gupta, under Section 435 of Code of Criminal Procedure, consultation with the central government. According to the Gujarat government, they consulted the central government, which gave them this permission. So therefore, even though the CBI and the special judge felt it was a heinous crime and they did not deserve remission, the centre cleared it.
no, center has not. That's what I'm saying. The prosecution agency, they said no. Central government has given the concurrence, but according to me, when we are going through the papers, whatever been provided through this counter, though Bilkis was not provided yet, our application has gone still unheeded. But in
Bilkis has not been
these
provided.
papers,
Are you telling me Bilkis has not been provided any of the papers yet?
not yet. We could now get this counter through the counter which was filed here, and we requested, and from the petitioners who have been served with the copy, we obtained one for us through them. They shared the copy to us. So we have an access of the papers only through the counter filed by State of Gujarat in these PILs.
So
but from the face
until
of
now, since August 15th, when they were given this remission, till today, we are now coming towards the end of October. You're telling me your applications to find out the reasons why remission was granted, you were given no reasons. You were not informed at all.
our application has not been responded yet.
Your application has not been responded yet till this counter affidavit was filed in the Supreme Court by the Gujarat government. I want to understand, therefore, why do you believe that that the Gujarat government's affidavit, according to you, is bad in law? Is it non-application of mine? What are you suggesting? Why is it that you believe it's bad in law?
I would not be saying anything on the affidavit, Rajdeep. This is something subject matter of the court proceedings.
Right.
We'll deal it like the PIL petitioners would be dealing it over there. But yes, reading of the papers, the remission order, for sure, according to me, in my opinion, it does not classify the premature release for the simple reason CBI, the prosecuting agency, said no quite clearly. And the special judge has, he has referred the provisions, he has referred the exceptions, he has clearly stated what policy would apply. And because of the nature of the crime, it should not have been granted to any of them, to none of them. I don't see any reason when two of the major stakeholders are saying no. How come without dealing with that? Like, to best of my reading of the papers, I do not see any discussion on these no by two of the stakeholders, and then the central government says or the state government says no, we still grant it.
They are saying they are granting
that,
it on the.
I don't see that consideration.
They are saying, Ms. Gupta, they are granting it on the basis of good behavior by the convicts over this 15-year period.
So, good behavior or the conduct of the convicts in jail. That's something once you are getting the papers from the jail authorities, you'll get to know. But from the papers we have seen, they have not been good, even in going back to jail after the expiry of parole or furlough. This is one case where the furlough and parole is, for 1,000 days for one convict. So effectively, how many years they have actually been in?
And did they ever threaten or harass Bilkis and her family?
I'll reserve this one for we are filing anything, I'll reserve that for that.
From your answer, I am presuming that you do believe, because I know that when I had spoken to Bilkis a few years ago, she had insisted that she was continuously getting threats.
She has actually issued a statement, you are aware of that she said, I'm so much fearful. Why would she be so much fearful if there was no reason for her to be so much fearful? She is, the whole family is. They are still not, they are hiding, or they are, living somewhere not in open right now. There are so many things, I can't just say on a TV channel everything, but yes, there are concerns, there are serious concerns.
So let me ask you in conclusion, you will continue to fight on in this case. You believe that the Gujarat government's affidavit, despite this Gujarat government's affidavit, you will continue to fight on to ensure that the remission is reversed.
Honestly, the affidavit helps by simply saying that we have not followed things. The affidavit is quite clear.
So you're confident that the Supreme Court can reverse a remission?
I am sure for it.
Okay. I appreciate your joining me there, Shobha Gupta. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, we've heard from the lawyer for Bilkis Bano. Let's hear now for the lawyer for the defendants, for the convicts, Rishi Malhotra with us. Appreciate your joining us, Mr. Malhotra. You tell us, The belief is that because now the affidavit of the Gujarat government has made it clear that it was the centre that cleared the remission, question marks are being raised and accusations of non-application of mind. July 28, the Gujarat government panel clears the file for remission. By 11th of August, the centre has also cleared it. So questions are being raised whether there was application of mind before this remission was granted, or was it granted for political reasons?
Rajdeep, first of all, our apprehensions or our answers have been vindicated by the state of Gujarat yesterday by filing a detailed affidavit. Because don't forget, Suhasini Ali's writ petition only talked about that they had an apprehension that the central government has not given any approval under Section 435 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. Now, that has been answered very categorically in the state of Gujarat's affidavit, that on 11th of July 2022, the central government has also indeed given its approval. So that's point number one. Point number two is that you did ask Subhashini Ali that why did she file a writ petition? You must ask this question first, that who is she to file a writ petition, because that's our preliminary objection from day one, which has been again vindicated in the state of Gujarat's affidavit, that there is no third-party strangers permitted in a criminal litigation. So therefore, they have no locus standi to file a writ petition under Article 32, because which fundamental rights have been infringed against them? And they cannot espouse a fundamental rights being violated.
No, what about, I asked you whether there was sufficient application of mind before the clearance was made. The centre has cleared this file. It's almost unprecedented. In a case of this nature, given the gravity and heinousness of crime, which both the special judge of the Supreme Court has, a special judge of the CBI court and the CBI has put on record, surely that needed to be looked at, the gravity of the crime.
Please understand that in May 2022, the Supreme Court delivered a very categorical judgment. And what does the judgment say? It says that consider the cases for premature release as per the Gujarat government policy of 1992. What this learned trial judge has given an opinion that is based purely and solely upon Maharashtra government's remission policy, which of course prohibits a convict undergoing a rape and murder charges. So therefore, you cannot compare an apple with an orange, because at that moment of time, what was wrongly done was a consideration under the Maharashtra remission policy and not under the Gujarat remission policy. And in any case, there is a 7 authorities who have decided for granting remission. It's not only one advisory board. There are 7 authorities under the state of Gujarat affidavit, which has given a positive report that this person deserves premature release for two simple reasons.
These persons are seen to have got more than 1,000, they've already got the benefit of more than 1,000 days in parole over this period. These people are accused by Bilkis Bano's family of threatening and intimidating her. These people are those who have not at any stage shown any remorse. These people are linked to a right-wing political group which garlands them, i.e. the VHP. These people are getting this remission in a year where Gujarat is going to the polls. Are you telling me none of these factors operate? None of these influence all these individuals? Many of these institutions that you're mentioning that gave this clearance are being seen as institutions linked to the ruling party in Gujarat.
I'm surprised. You see, 15 years plus these men have undergone. And how do you assume that they have no remorse or they have no right to reform? Number one. Number two, what all this hue and cry that the advisory committee had consisted of some BJP MLAs and all that, please don't forget what is the rule. The policy says that at that moment of time when the cases are considered for premature release, the sitting MLAs have to be in the advisory board. It doesn't matter the sitting MLA happens to be a BJP MLA or it may be a Congress MLA. So by any chance, if a BJP MLA who is a local MLA there, who has to be part of advisory board committee, if he happens to be there, how can you throw color on that it may be a vindicative or some way of...
No, do you really believe that that the BJP MLAs who were part of this advisory panel would necessarily be neutral, given that this was a case which was politically fraught? Don't you think that somewhere, therefore, the Supreme Court has the right to raise these questions?
No. So what do we do? If the remission rule provides for a local MLA to be there, how can they substitute a local MLA with some other MLA and has to be some opposite party? It
Can
could
they
have been
not
Congress
question
MLA.
the alleged non-application of mine?
Absolutely not. Raise the question of non-application of mine. There is a 10-member advisory committee consisting of judicial officers, a session judge, a superintendent of police, a jail superintendent, and of course these MLAs and social workers. So mainly because some of the MLAs happens to be of a one political party affiliation, how do you throw doubt on the judicial officer's mind?
So in your view, you believe that this is a case where there is no question of any attempt being made by the Supreme Court to exercise jurisdiction over the decisions taken by this committee granting remission. Am I correct?
You're absolutely correct, number one. Number two, what has to be seen basically for the purpose of remission is how was the conduct in the jail? Was there any offense committed during the man who was inside the jail? And did he ever avail or did he ever misuse grant of any parole? Did he surrender too much late?
You are denying that they ever threatened or harassed Bilkis Bano's family?
Absolutely not. This is all moonshine arguments.
Okay. I appreciate your joining us there, sir, and giving us your perspective, the counsel for the petitioners there. Thank you so much. Okay, we've heard the legal side. Let's turn to the politics, because there is politics in this. Remember, Gujarat goes to the polls in just a few weeks from now. And I want to raise some big questions. Why are the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party silent on Bilkis Bano? Should the Ministry of Home Affairs not be explaining exactly what its position is? Why did it grant remission? Will Bilkis become a poll issue? Has Bilkis Bano been simply denied justice? Joining me now, Supriya Srinath joins us in the studio today of the Congress Party. I'm joined by Rajat Sethi. He is author, political analyst, but also former advisor to Manipur government, close to the BJP. I'm also joined by Subhashni Ali, senior leader CPIM, who is one of the petitioners in the case. Ravi Srivastav is joining us as a AAP supporter. Let's be very clear. We also hope to be joined by Pramila Nesargi, BJP member and lawyer. Let's turn to that core issue. I want to turn to you, Subhashni Ali, first, because you are a petitioner in the case, and one of the arguments just made by the lawyer for the defendants is you have no locus. You have no locus in this case. Why did you choose to take up this particular case and file a petition in this case? Is it because it is a BJP-ruled state?
Well, this is a very, very special case for many reasons, Rajdeep. This is a case, of course, of very horrifying brutality, horrifying violence, horrifying criminality. All of those things are present in this case. But if you have also been someone covering the 2002 riots in Gujarat, this was one of the few cases in which the victim was able to fight for justice for 8 long years, and finally there was a verdict passed against the criminals, convicting them, sending them to jail for life. So actually this was a very important part of all that happened in Gujarat in 2002, and this was the one case in which we saw some kind of justice actually being done. And also the horrifying nature of the crimes that were committed against Bilkis Bano, against her child, against her unborn child, against her nephew who was just born a day before that, and against various members of her family. The brutality of the crime which was committed by people who were known to her and her family, known to her for many years after living together in the same village, and the fact that a woman was raped in front of her mother was raped in front of her daughter and daughter-in-law. All these things made this a very, very horrifying crime, even in the midst of what was a very horrifying pogrom in Gujarat in that year. And after that...
Right. Ma'am, I'll come back to you, but Pramila Nesargi, you are a BJP member, a lawyer, a woman activist.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what's happened. The Gujarat government has chosen a 1993 policy to grant remission and overlooked its own 2014 policy, which says we will not grant remission to murders and to those convicted of murder and rape. I mean, what's the message that's gone out? And the central government, the Home Ministry, headed by Mr. Amit Shah, has cleared it within a fortnight. I mean, what's the message again that's going out there?
Now, I only want to tell you, I am not justifying whatever has been done. I am not questioning about it. That is pending before the Supreme Court and it is sub judice. It is for their lordship to decide what has happened. But only question that I want to pose here is whether they applied 93 policy or some other policy, whether anyone has questioned the policy. The policy decision is always there. No one has questioned till today. Now it is time for the Supreme Court to examine whether the policy was good, whether the policy could have been extended to these convicts, and whether the policy is properly exercised, whether there was application of mind so far as the individuals are concerned, whether it is not only the good behavior that's in the jail or when they were in parole. That is not the question. Whether these rules could have been applied at all in the circumstances of the case. That is what the Supreme Court has to deal with, and I am sure that the Supreme Court has taken cognizance, and now that they were going to deal with this. Now it is high time that such policies should not remain in the book. I mean, I personally feel that
they've gone by the, there is selective application of mind, prima facie, there is selective application of mind that you go by a 1993 policy rather than your own government's 2014 policy. But Rajat Sethi, I hate to say this, but today, no BJP spokesperson official was willing to come on the show. We haven't heard a word from Mr. Amit Shah's office ever since August 15 when the remission took place. You're coming in a way here as a BJP supporter, sympathizer, someone who's worked with them. I mean, isn't it embarrassing in a way that India's leading party, largest party in the world, is not willing to speak on a case like this at the moment? Somewhere, it almost seems that they're too embarrassed to even defend what's happened.
Well, I think to some extent what you are saying is right. Just see, there are two facets to this what has unfolded in the past 1 month or so. There is this deep emotional aspect of this case, and then there is a legal argument base which the Supreme Court is hearing. If we mix both of these two facets, we'll never reach to conclusions. And I think all the BJP leadership, especially speaking on the emotional side, would not have the conviction to come in and speak and support this. And I agree with that. They are humans at the end of the day. They have an emotional side. We all know how Prime Minister has consistently said that women and women respect is paramount. What has happened in this?
But those words are empty. They sound hollow. You see, with due regard to the Prime Minister, on the very day on August 15 when he was mouthing these words about women's rights, these convicts were being released and then later were garlanded and were feted by the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, which is linked to the Sangh Parivar. That's my problem. The double standards seem to be exposed cruelly in a case like this. Today it's Bilkis Bano, tomorrow it could be someone else.
Well, there is a reason why I had come on your show, because I personally wanted to vent out. I do not agree or do not support any kind of, garlanding or sweet distribution that was done. I don't know those elements who did that. It was shameful. I personally, if it were to me, I would see the remission to be cancelled, and these convicts to carry on with their sentence of life imprisonment, and that should carry on. But remember, the entire philosophy of legal system, the jurisprudence, believes in reforming. Otherwise, the courts of that day could have hung all these 11 odd people who were convicted. When they remitted it and the sentence was reduced down to a life imprisonment, perhaps the courts somewhere believed that there might be a chance that these individuals would reform. Now, whether the reforming could be established through the laws or the policies that were there in place in 1992, whether the due processes were followed in soliciting the advice of these 10-11 member advisory board committee, was it done in the proper procedures? That is for the Supreme Court to decide, and this is what is happening.
I don't think any of us are prejudging what the court is saying, but prima facie it appears that there has been a miscarriage of justice, and it sets a very dangerous precedent for the future. You can reform someone, but that doesn't mean you remit their sentence in the manner where there is no evidence on record of any remorse being shown. But, Supriya Srinath, it's interesting. The BJP is silent, the Aam Aadmi Party is silent, the Congress has taken up this case, yes. But the fact at the end of the day is, how is that? Who is going to deliver justice? Will you make this, say, a campaign issue in Gujarat, which you know is heavily polarized, where every political party seems to be competing for the Hindu vote?
You know, I'll take 2 minutes and say some things, not just as a Congress spokeswoman, but I think as a citizen of this country and more so as a woman. You asked Ms. Suhasini Ali, what is her locus? Is what the legal
That's the argument that is being made by the defendant.
Yes. Her locus and my locus is exactly the same. Bilkis Bano is a citizen of this country. She is a woman. What happened to her is unimaginable. She was 5 months pregnant. Her 3-year-old daughter, her head was smashed into the wall. Her husband and 7 other members were killed. She and her mother were gang raped before each other. I mean, what is a more heinous crime? And the CBI judge, while opposing this remission, Anand Yavalkar says, this is a heinous crime. There cannot be remission. So A, everybody has a locus to speak on this. B, I disagree. This is neither a legal issue, nor is this an emotional issue. This is actually a moral issue. What has happened to the moral compass of this government? Let us not mince our words, and I'm not politicizing this matter. The Prime Minister from the Red Fort tells the country women need to be respected. Within hours, these 11 convicts, mind you, not accused, they are convicts. Ye doshi nahi hai, ye doshi hai, ye aaropi nahi hai. They walk out free. And on whose behest? The Home Minister. The Home Ministry gave a green signal for them to walk out, and they gave this green signal in a matter of 2 weeks on a 1-page letter which said, set them free. I really want to ask the question, and the real question actually lies in your panel today. Why is there no official BJP spokesperson, and where is the Aam Aadmi Party? The Prime Minister has been to Gujarat multiple times. Arvind Kejriwal has been to Gujarat multiple times, almost every week. Why are they not talking about this? Because perhaps the woman at the receiving end, her name is Bilkis and not Bela. And that is what this issue really boils down to. And that enrages me, and it really pains me.
That is a very strong statement you've just made, that because her name is Bilkis and her name is not Bela, you're claiming that that is the reason for the silence. Mr. Srivastav, do you agree with that? Here you are an AAP supporter, your party which otherwise comes on TV on every issue, which says that we are going to fight this battle of Gujarat. In the Gujarat of the Aam Aadmi Party, there is no space for a Bilkis because her name is Bilkis and not Bela, is what the argument is being made.
Rajdeep, on certain issues, the politics has to be kept aside. I fully agree what has been so far discussed here, but I have one question. I'm really intrigued at the silence of the center for full 2 months till this thing came to light that center had approved that particular remission of those 11 people, and those are the people who were garlanding and giving the sweets and all those things, and they were the party to it. So today the central government of this country stands exposed before the nation that they were
the central government stands exposed, but so does the Aam Aadmi Party. You're so transactional. All of you are searching for the Hindu vote in Gujarat. Let's be honest. In my view, when it comes to gang rape and murder, there are no Hindus and Muslims. They are citizens of this country, Mr. Srivastav. Why don't our political parties cutting across party lines recognize that? The Congress seems to have. Why doesn't the Aam Aadmi Party?
Rajdeep, on your channel, I am requesting the Aam Aadmi Party Supremo, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, to come out and condemn it univocally. There is no truth about it. There cannot be any dividing line on this. There cannot be any vote bank politics on this. This is an issue. If there's some embodiment of the monsters is there, I think these 11 people are the bodies of the monsters actually. So the crime is so heinous that they must be put to bar, back to the
these are all nice statements in a TV studio. My worry, of course, Supriya Srinath, is as the Gujarat campaign comes next month, is the Congress willing to take up these issues and make this an issue of justice? And I dare say for a woman. I'm not going to say Muslim, Hindu, for a woman, because at the end of the day, hers is a case of the most heinous crime that has been committed, and those responsible for it have got away, or at least have been, their sentence has been remitted, and they have been feted in the manner that they have in Gujarat. So I want to know from you, will you all take this up or not, or will the Hindu vote bank play politics there?
quite frankly, I think we are the only political party that is putting our face out there. And somebody like Rahul Gandhi has made a statement on this, that she deserves justice. What has happened to her is unfair. And we are doing it in the thick of election, no matter what, because I think the dignity of women surpasses everything. Though, I will take 20 seconds to point out, Mr. Kejriwal is not just silent. Mr. Sisodia was in Gujarat today. People, the journalists questioned him, what do you want to say on Bilkis Bano? And he said, हम रोजगार पे बात कर रहे हैं, जिनको उस पर बात करनी है वो करें. If you cannot stand for the dignity of an Indian woman, what actually do you stand for? And let me also tell you, they are not just missing this debate, they also gave a miss to the Pravesh Verma debate when the media questioned Pravesh Verma for his hate speech. Why do they not come on these debates, and why do they then go and seek votes in parts of India where they are only assisting the BJP is a big question.
You made the point. You made the point.
As a citizen of this country, Rajdeep, it pains me that today the Home Minister, who occupies the chair that Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel once did, does not have the moral courage or the authority to come and tell this country he's sorry, he apologizes for what he did, and he is going to correct that wrong. Can Mr. Shah or Mr. Modi do this? They will not, because they don't have any moral courage.
You know, I want to come to you, Pramila Nesargi. I know you are in a difficult position. You're not an official BJP spokesperson, but I know you as a woman of dignity and someone who therefore I'm sure will say what is wrong and what is right is right. I just ask you this. Do you concede that when something like this happens, it becomes embarrassing to defend your political party? My point is, if the centre has valid reasons, they should put it before in the public domain. You look at this one-page letter that the centre has put, they've not even explained the reasons why they've gone ahead with the remission. Within a fortnight of this case coming up before them, they cleared it, almost as if they want to time it for the Gujarat elections. The Home Ministry is headed by Mr. Shah, and he's not said a word.
Rajdeep, I just want to tell you, repeating the heinous crime, explaining what happened, it will not help anyone. What we are at a stage when remission is given. The question is whether rules have been framed properly, whether it has been exercised rightly or wrongly. That's the question. The matter is already before the Supreme Court being examined. What do you expect the Home Minister to come back to the public domain?
I'm only asking you one question this evening as a citizen of this country. That's so unfair.
We are a government.
As a woman, do you support what the government has done?
What is to be
Forget
done.
about BJP or the Congress or the Aam Aadmi Party.
I heard you. Please, listen first. Learn to listen. I want to, Rajdeep has questioned me and I am answering. The matter is before the Supreme Court. It is being heard. Whether law has been exercised properly or not. Remission rules were exercised properly. Whether exercised arbitrarily. Whether the committee which was formed was proper or not. It is before the Supreme Court.
Ma'am, the committee was, I agree with you that these are questions that, ma'am, just a minute.
They are doing dignifiedly.
Okay. I agree that these are questions that the Supreme Court is...
They are telling the Supreme Court. They may accept, may not accept.
Okay, let me just take it for a moment, producer, just a minute. Let me just take it for a moment to Subhashri Ali, because, you know, Subhashri Ali, this is a time when I see whataboutery. There are those who will tell me that because this is a horrifying case involving the Gujarat riots, because there is a BJP government there, therefore the likes of Subhashri Ali are taking it up. I want to get that clear once again. Do you believe that this case is about politics at the end of the day, about taking on the Modi-Shah regime of the BJP, or is this a genuine fight for justice above all else, that gang rapes, wherever they happen in the country, will evoke a similar response from you?
No. I would like to clarify. No. It's nothing to do with that. No, I'm not talking about what government right now. What I'm saying is, it is an absolute travesty of justice that the only case in which convictions were made and people were sent to jail for life for the crimes that they had committed. What has been really shocking is that in this one case, that justice that was seen to be done in 2008 maybe, now seems to have come unraveled with the unqualified release of these 11 criminals who are convicted criminals by the government of Gujarat. Now, when you say, do you stand up for other cases? I mean, our record, the record of our women's organization, it is all there for anybody to see. We have been trying to fight for justice for women who have been the victims of all kinds of violence in different states of India. I don't think that questions can be raised of that kind. But I would still like to say that this is a very unique case. Even in all the horrors that we see being meted out to women all over our country, this is a unique case in that here justice was seen to be done to some extent after a very long fight. And now that is what seems to be coming unraveled, as I said.
Okay, you want to respond, Supriya Shine. There will be those who will say, look, 15 years is a long time. These are people who've served 15 years in jail. They therefore deserve their freedom or liberty. The point that Rajat Sethi made, that law at one level is meant to be reformative. If it has been decided it's not the rarest of rare that will get the death penalty, life in this case could, according to some views, 15 years entitles you to seek for a remission.
15 years, out of which 4 were spent outside jail on furlough and parole. So let's not lose sight of who we are discussing and what kind of political patronage do they enjoy. I want to make a very small point. The reason why I feel very strongly about this is because the silence of the BJP is deafening. Whether it is Hathras, whether it is Unnao, whether it is Lakhimpur, whether it is Uttarakhand, where an Ankita was killed by a kin of the BJP leader.
There have been accusations of gang rapes also that took place after the Bengal elections last year. Would the Congress take up those cases as strongly as you would this?
Because, Rajdeep, please understand this. Whether it is Rajasthan, a Congress-ruled state, or any state, I think the dignity of a woman cannot be met with deafening silence from policymakers. And not on a day when the Prime Minister from the ramparts of the Red Fort talks about the dignity of women, and within hours these people walk out because Amit Shah cleared their freedom. That is so not on. And the deafening silence from the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party puts both these entities in a dock on their role as far as women in this country are concerned. Is there no country for women is a question that many of us, irrespective of party line, want to ask today.
I want to give you a final word, Rajat Sethi, since you said you've come on this show in a way and been honest enough to admit that what's happened has been a bit of an embarrassment. Do you believe the time has come to end the whataboutery? There's too much of whataboutery that happens. Every time you raise one case, people say, oh, what about what happened in the Hyderabad gang rape case? Has the time come to end it? And just say, ensure that Bilkis Bano is given the protection that she deserves as a citizen of India who suffered this heinous crime.
100%, Rajdeep, and this is exactly, you touched upon the raw nerve. You talked about whataboutery, and the moment you said about West Bengal, I was deafened by the silence of the Congress spokesperson. She did not utter a word. She did not utter a word that Rajasthan has the highest number of rape cases.
I named Rajasthan. What part of my answer did you not say?
No, she did name Rajasthan.
What are you talking about?
No, just a minute, Supriya. Just a minute. She did raise Rajasthan.
Not guilty to her. Allow me this thing.
Yes.
I have full sympathy on this case, and I personally feel, as I said, this remission should be cancelled and they should go back to jail. Whatever, sort of legal arguments there might be, Supreme Court should study it and should study it really well. There is this entire board of advisory which has given their commentary. Every single comment which proves that there has been some reform should be proven in the court. Every bit of it, every shred of it. And it's still, if the Supreme Court believes that the remission is perhaps the right legal way to go about it, then so be it. But remember, it is ultimately going to be a legal argument. The conviction, there is no doubt about it that these were the people who were convicts. They have faced 15 years. The question before us is, should they come out at this stage or not? It's not about the emotional side of it. We all are on the same page on that.
I'm going to leave it there. Remember, the panel which was appointed is also under question. Many of them, of course, were BJP MLAs. Some of them said that these are sanskari individuals and therefore they needed a remission. The entire case of Bilkis Bano, therefore, is a reflection and a mirror, in a sense, of certain realities in this country that we need to confront. People often ask me, why do you focus on these cases that lead up to Gujarat riots? Wo to 20 saal pehle hua. We will be condemned to repeat things if we forget and if we don't remember justice in every case, whether it is 84 with the Sikh riots that took place, pogrom as I call it, 92-93 Mumbai, or 2002 Gujarat, or indeed any act of mass violence in this country. The guilty must not get away. They've got away for too long. And therefore, Bilkis Bano becomes a case that is relevant to the times, my friends, in which we live in. Think about it. Let's take a break. When we return, there's plenty more on the news today. On the other side, a good news story, and it comes from Kargil. We'll tell you more. You're watching the news today. News without the noise.
I don't read the news. I read between the lines to tell you the true version of events, the true story of our times.
To document grief, the toughest assignment for any journalist to be.
From those who matter.
Women politicians going to stick up for each other.
Of those who should matter. I document the truth. I don't distort the truth. I don't glamorize the truth. I don't gloss over the truth.
The ghosts of India's contentious medieval history have come knocking again.
I hustle for the truth, on the ground, in the newsroom, in the studio. I don't try to grab eyeballs.
I inform you to make you see the point.
To the Point with Preeti Chaudhary. At these times, only on India Today. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
Kerala's public health. All political parties traveling from different parts.
Armed with facts,
Looking at political back.
she takes the news by its horns.
Do you think the future of these students are not hampered?
Fierce, bold and direct, setting the tone for the biggest stories from every corner and every angle. Expect nothing but the unfiltered truth.
News first, niceties later. Watch me, Nabila Jamal, on India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
Welcome back. Let's turn to tonight's Get Real India story. Now, under a new law, the Madhya Pradesh government has constituted a tribunal to recover damages from those accused of rioting. The tribunal has sent notices, for example, to the accused in the Khargone Ram Navami attack case earlier this year. As it turns out, one of these accused is a 12-year-old. The class 8 student is being asked to pay close to 3 lakh rupees. Is this justice? Umesh Revalia brings you tonight's Get Real India report.
Months after a Ram Navami procession was targeted in Khargone, a tribunal in Madhya Pradesh has served notices to people named in 34 complaints to pay for the damage caused. One of the nearly 50 people served notices under a new state law is a 12-year-old. The class 8 student has been asked to pay up 2,90,000 rupees. His family is facing a notice for total payment of 4,80,000 rupees.
12-13 साल का बच्चा है मेरा नाबालिग है उसको भी नोटिस दिया इन्होंने इस बात पे 2,90,000 का दंगाई को इसमें और हम तो घर पे थे मेरा बच्चा भी घर पे था मैं भी घर पे था रात को 10-11 बजे की बात है हम तो घर में सोए हुए थे.
The child claims he was at home on the day the riots took place.
मेरे ऊपर इन्हें इंजाम डाला कि ये दंगे का बात है कि दंगा हुआ था उस दिन हम 10 तारीख को घर में था हमारे झूठा नाम दे दिया हाँ झूठा इंजाम ठोक दिया मेरे को.
The kid's mother says her son was traumatized after being served the notice.
मेरे छोरे का नाम डाला. मेरे छोरे की 3 दिन 4 दिन तबीयत खराब रही. दहशत में रहा वो कि नहीं मुझे पुलिस उठा के ले जाएगी. दंगे में नाम नहीं है, लूट मार में मेरे छोरे का नाम है. हमारे इतने मासूम बच्चे कैसे चोरी चिकारी करेंगे?
Local activists have accused the government of acting in a high-handed manner.
इनको न्याय नहीं, इनको केवल खाना पूर्ति करना है. तो ही तो एक 12-13 साल के बालक को भी इन्होंने नोटिस दिया खाना पूर्ति के हिसाब से और उस पर झूठा इल्जाम इस उम्र में लगाया गया है जो कि उसके आने वाले भविष्य के लिए एक बहुत बड़ा खतरा बना हुआ है.
The recovery is being made under Madhya Pradesh Prevention and Recovery of Damages to Public and Private Property Act, similar to those in other BJP-ruled states of UP and Haryana. Bureau Report, India Today.
Plenty to ponder about in these and other stories, but let's leave you tonight with a happier story because tonight I want you to meet Ladakh's cricket sensation. That's right, Ladakh's cricket sensation. Her name is Maksuma. A young girl holds big dreams and in her bat, and her videos of her skilled batting have now struck a chord on social media. But what is Maksuma's biggest dream? Find out. Take a look.
मेरा फेवरेट है विराट कोहली है. मैं उसके जैसे बनना चाहती हूँ.
A Virat Kohli fan and Ladakh's latest internet sensation, a budding cricketer who wields the bat like a pro. Sending the ball all over the ground. Meet Maksuma. This class 6 student aspires to play for India like her idol when she grows up. The passion for cricket runs in Maksuma's household. The little girl saw her father's love for the game.
मैं छोटी थी, पापा खेलते थे, उनको देख के मुझे एक शौक पैदा हो गया, तब से मैं खेलती आई हूँ.
Her teachers recognize her love for cricket and encourage her. Maksuma's friends share her enthusiasm, regularly turning up for fun-filled cricket matches. Several sportspersons, including Indian cricketers, have been impressed by Maksuma. The Ladakh administration extended help to Maksuma, her cricket team and school.
अभी भी सिखा रहे हैं पापा मुझे शॉट मारना, कैसे हेलीकॉप्टर शॉट मारते हैं. अच्छा. ये सब सिखा रहे हैं.
Here's hoping that Maksuma and countless kids like her get to fulfill their dreams. Bureau Report, India Today.
Well, we've got a female Virat Kohli, or Virat Kohli got something to learn there, but we've got also a female Iranian climber, Elnaz Rekabi, who competed with her hair uncovered at the Asian Championships in South Korea, has now gone missing. A post has surfaced on her Instagram account saying the hijab fell off accidentally. Human rights activists are worried about the safety of the 33-year-old Rekabi, who was earlier praised by anti-hijab protesters. It's also been reported that she was forced to leave the venue early by Iranian officials and could face an arrest back home. Our thoughts tonight with her and all the brave women of Iran who have taken on, in a way, the conservatives. Remember, whichever religious belief they belong to, conservatives are often opponents of the modern woman. You think about that and stay well, stay safe. Good night. Shubhratri. Jai Hind. Namaskar.
पाँच साल के बाद पेट्रोल देश से समाप्त हो जाएगा. आपकी स्कूटर